Hi, I'm Bella, and I really enjoy simulation games and building games and like management sim type games. So, naturally, Satisfactory has been a very enjoyable game for me lately. But I realized that in a save that I've been playing with my friends, I have sort of done none of the hard work. And I've let my friends do all of the like actual hard work of figuring out how to plan out our factory and all of that stuff while I just wander around and explore and do silly stuff in the world, which don't get me wrong, is an incredible way to play this game. But I think I want to learn actually how to play Satisfactory. So, welcome to part one of that. I'm going to try to actually learn how to play Satisfactory and be responsible for all of the decisions and all that stuff. So, hopefully, it goes well, and I hope you enjoy. Yeah.
Separation from main transport complete. Group A delivered to Calistian region. All pioneers functional, initiating dispersion. Attention Pioneer, I am Ada, your personal instance of the Artificial Directory and Assistant. Welcome to the Fixit Incorporated Save the Day program. A Fixit Pioneer has 3 core assignments. Construct. All pioneers must follow Fixit guidelines and instructions when constructing any building. Automate. Every pioneer is responsible for setting up and managing efficient pipelines, outposts, and power infrastructure. Explore and exploit. Fixit selected planets are rich with resources suitable for direct use or further investigation. Stay within your designated. And that is why the world is counting on pioneers like you. Fixit. Short-term solutions to long-term problems. Initiating planetfall. Atmospheric entry in 3, 2, 1. Beginning aero assist. Drag within acceptable parameters. Descent phase begun. Decelerating. Deploying parachute. Deploying backup parachute. Skipping parachute. Landing phase begun. Activating retro propulsion. Touchdown. Planetfall complete. Drop pod integrity nominal. Omni situational exploration suit nominal. Pioneer. Acceptable. Congratulations, you are the 3rd in your region to survive planetfall. Welcome to Massage 2, AB-B, in the binary system of Akicha. Loading objective-based introduction.
So here we are starting the game, and for the beginning part, I am basically just following the like tutorial instructions here. So there's a whole section where the tutorial just takes you through how to disassemble things, how to build the beginning buildings like the hub and finding resources and all that kind of fun stuff. And for this, I have already played through the beginning tutorial with friends, so there wasn't a whole lot to like learn here or extra stuff to do here. I just went through the tutorial, just had a nice time.
The habitat and utility base, often referred to as the hub. Next objective. Use the resource scanner to find and collect additional iron to be able to build the hub. If you cannot find iron, be assured scans of the planet have revealed sufficient iron sources. Samples
After exploring the nearby area a little bit and like just seeing sort of where we were in the world and also running into some scary animals that I did have to dispatch, eventually I found some iron and also my partner joined the game. So my partner is going to be playing with me and sort of advising me on how to play the game. We've been playing together on a separate save, but on that save, he has been doing all of the, well, he and my friend have been doing all of the hard work of like planning out the factory, figuring out where things need to go, mathing out like how to do everything. And that's the save where I've just been wandering around, exploring the world and being silly. So anyways, he's going to advise me on sort of how to play the game. And also, I don't know, it's more fun to play with another person. Anyways, we found iron and built the very first building that you need in the game, which is the hub. So this has like our first like crafting setup and also the like this view thing that tells us all the different objectives that we have to do in the game. So we pretty much just set up the hub, picked the first objective, and then started working towards getting this milestone.
Hub Upgrade 1, Storage and Frame, completed. Equipment like the portable miner can now be made in the workshop. Congratulations on completing your first milestone, the first of many providing access to new recipes and technologies for the Fix-It mission. Next objective, complete Hub Upgrade 2.
After unlocking the first milestone, we want to start mining iron a little bit faster, which we can do with the portable miner that we just unlocked. But to build that, you have to build the equipment workshop. So next, I'm going to like get all of the materials needed to make the equipment workshop, get the equipment workshop going, build some portable miners, and, you know, start speeding things up a little bit. Now that we have the portable miners set up, I'm going to take a look at the next hub upgrade milestone. And for this milestone, we just need to craft some iron things. So we need iron rods and iron plates. At this stage, we don't have any automation in the factory because there are like no automation tools available to us yet. It's all super manual. So we're just going to craft this stuff on the crafting bench. Since there are two of us playing and only one person can use the crafting bench at a time, I'm setting up a second crafting bench so that we can be a little bit faster in the beginning stuff. And also, we'll end up using the crafting bench a lot, so having two makes sense. And now we manually craft 20 iron rods and 10 iron plates. So first I have to craft the iron ingot, which I'm doing manually, and then I'll be able to use the iron ingots to make the materials that we need. And I'm gonna show you how slow the manual process takes for the beginning stuff, but in the future I will totally just zip through this in videos because there are a couple times that I craft like a silly amount of things manually. So it's not so bad at the beginning, but like later it's kind of goofy. Anyways, here it is, the next hub upgrade.
Hub upgrade 2, power and shell, completed. The smelter can turn raw ore such as copper and iron into ingots, and the biomass burner generates power when fueled. Fun fact, most of the native flora and fauna is compatible with Fixit technology. Fueling the biomass burner with inappropriate materials will result in deductions or even cancellation of your yearly bonus. Next objective, complete hub upgrade 3.
This one was a big hub upgrade because we now have the opportunity to start using power. So we unlocked the biomass burner that's on the back of our hub building. And so we can feed that stuff like leaves to like burn, I guess, and create power. So now we can start building equipment that requires power, which also means we can start automating things around here, which will really speed up this process. First up, we're building a smelter. So the smelter will allow us to take the iron ore that we're getting out of our portable miners and automatically turn it into iron ingots instead of having to do that part of the process manually, which saves on a lot of time because now when we need to build things, we don't have to do that first step of making iron ingots. Although, ironically, I do have to make a couple of iron ingots so that I can make the building materials for the smelter. But then I won't have to do it again, so that's exciting. Building the smelter also requires that we start getting a new material that we haven't used yet in the game, which is copper, because we'll need to make copper wire to build the smelter. There is a copper node not too far from where we've been set up, but it's impure, which is kind of annoying. It just is going to slow us down a little bit, but that's what is closest, so we're going to put some portable miners and start getting copper. I'm also selecting Hub Upgrade 3 because I realized I didn't have that milestone shown in the top corner of my view, and I want to make sure I have that in mind because we'll be able to do that soon now that we have copper. And now I am finally going to build our first smelter. So I wasn't really sure where to put this. My first instinct was to put it just like over near the iron. But then my wonderful, very helpful advisor reminded me that there's no need for it to be over there because we're just going to be manually putting the iron from the portable miners into the smelter. So it's better to just have it next to the hub so that it's close to power and close to where we'll need the iron ingots when they're like coming out of the smelter. I also got a little lesson in understanding power consumption and capacity because this is definitely a part of the game that I have ignored so far when playing and just let someone else think about it. So from the very beginning, my partner wanted to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on like what our power capacity is and what our consumption is, so I know what we can build and like what our limit will be. So our consumption is way under capacity. So immediately we were super excited to get a bunch more smelters online so that we can get iron even faster. So that was our next plan. After I set up my very messy row of smelters that would max out our power consumption, at this moment we realized that we can't actually use all of these yet because we have to unlock the power pole. So as of right now, we can only connect one thing to our power generator. So I just made a row of smelters for no reason. But we are going to use them soon in the future. So for now, we've just got the one and, have to start focusing on the next upgrades again.
Hub Upgrade 3, Interior Furnishing, completed. The constructor can produce simple parts, and power poles allow for the expansion of the power grid. When you make the inevitable mistake, Fix-It's dismantling feature is designed to salvage all resources used during construction, in line with our zero-waste policy. We understand that Fix-It pioneers are only human, and thus prone to error. Next objective, complete Hub Upgrade 4.
Getting the next hub upgrade milestone was pretty quick because we had all of the stuff that we needed. We just had to manually craft a few things. And this unlocked power poles, which of course we need, and also limestone, which we will need to start making concrete. So we immediately went to find limestone near us, and there was one really close, but there were some monsters we had to get first.
Samples of unknown alien species acquired. It is unclear where on the flora or fauna spectrum it lies, but initial data suggests this might be a nest or an egg. Preserve the remains for later study.
After doing some work to see the new upgrades and get stuff set up, we finally get to go to my most anticipated part of this game. I know how that sounds. I don't care. I love character customization. It's my favorite part in like most games. So I was super excited to go to the character customizer because I really enjoy setting up like a fun little color scheme and getting things all, cute. I'm not above it. I'll admit it. I like cute stuff in a game. So anyways, here it is. The most fun part of the game, character customization. My partner and I decided on a matching color scheme of a cool, like dark purple color, and then also a bright yellow. And we're going to use this for like a lot of stuff in the game. So you'll see it a lot. Hope you love it. Now that we have unlocked the power pole, we can get the rest of these smelters online. So I am figuring out how to place power poles to get all of these powered up. This part was interesting because this was another one of those moments for me where I realized that I had never set up power for anything in this game before. So I had to figure out like what can connect to what and how many different connections the power poles and different items can have. So I will admit, I was humbled to realize how little I knew about power. But anyways, I set up power And then with this one power pole, each power pole can have 4 connections. So one of the connections was to the power generator that we have on the hub. And then I connected 3 of the smelters for now. But then pretty quickly I realized this would be a problem. So I connected the 3 and then I was like, oh, wait, I'm going to have to disconnect this third one and then add another power pole so that I can get another connection for the final 2 smelters. So that's what I did. At this point of the game, we need more iron than copper, so I configured the first 3 smelters to convert iron ore into iron ingots, and then I set the last 2 smelters to do the same for copper. And then at this point, it was a good time to check in with our next milestone, which was the hub upgrade 4, which I had not started tracking yet, but we already had a lot of the stuff for because we've already been making a bunch of iron stuff, and we started with limestone. So we had our first batch of concrete, so we had that. So I just manually made the last few things that we needed for the upgrade.
Hub Upgrade 4, Landing Platform and Utilities completed. Conveyor belts connect the output of one building to the input of another and transport resources. Due to past incidents, I have been asked to issue a clarification. Portable miners, obviously, do not have a connection for conveyor belts. There is nothing to suggest, visually or functionally, that they can be connected to portable miners. If this is something you struggle with, do not worry. Fixit has alternative uses for all their pioneers. Next objective, complete Hub Upgrade 5.
So that was Hub Upgrade 4. Pretty straightforward because we had all of the materials. And for the next milestone, Hub Upgrade 5, we also have all the materials and it'll just take a little bit of crafting. So we'll get that done really quickly here too.
Hub Upgrade 5, Power Expansion, completed. The miner, unlike portable miners, can be connected to conveyor belts and requires power to function. Caution: as you expand, the energy demand of your production may exceed the capacity of your power grid. The onboarding program was established because Fix-It pioneers often experience memory issues after planetfall. If you are experiencing nosebleeds, nausea, existentialism, or an itchy scalp, there is no need for concern. This should pass within 5 to 7 workdays. Next objective: complete Hub Upgrade 6.
Once again, Hub Upgrade 6 is going to go pretty fast for us too because we have a lot of stuff automated. So we're getting iron ingots and copper ingots produced just like automatically, and we just have to craft those into the things that we need, like the iron rods, the iron plates, and the copper wire. We don't have full automation for concrete yet, but we do have a portable miner over at the limestone, so it's at least pretty quick for us to make concrete. So this part also is going to go pretty fast, but since we unlocked additional power with the last hub upgrade, now is the time where we can start automating stuff even more just to make things go even faster. Even though we're speeding through the hub upgrade milestones, that's not the only objective in this game. So already we're sort of thinking about how can we start automating as soon as possible so that all of the next milestones will go quickly. The first task that we're going to do for more automation is to add miners or automatic miners, these like big miner thingies over top of our 2 iron nodes so that we can start getting iron automatically mined and then like put into other machines with conveyor belts instead of just having to like actually manually run stuff to other places because we're using the portable miners. This is another structure that requires power though, so I had to figure out how to power it, which meant that I did have to build more like power lines. Now it's time to connect the miner to the smelter with a conveyor belt so that the mined ore can automatically be fed right into the smelter and be smelted into ingots. I'm realizing now how little I've explained this out loud. So I'm like, wait, what words am I using? Anyways, we're connecting them. But ultimately, it was at this point where we were sort of like, you know what? This conveyor belt is too long. There's no need to have the smelters all the way over by the hub at like if they're just going to be connected to miners. So this begun the not that like wild process, but the somewhat involved process of reorganizing our smelters and just like sort of redoing our iron situation. So we moved the smelter, one of the smelters that was over by the hub, we moved to be right next to our first miner so that it was just like convenient. And then eventually we sort of like redid the mining situation on the other iron node as well. And we had to sort of reconfigure power a little bit. But yeah, our first like reorganization of the base, I guess. Once that was all set up in a way that we liked and that made sense, at least for now, I wanted to check in on the progress that we had for our next milestone, Hub Upgrade 6. And I had some of the stuff that we needed, my partner had some of the stuff that we needed, and then I just figured out what else we needed to build so that we could get to the next milestone.
Hub Upgrade 6, Landing Platform Hydraulics, completed. Freighter landing initialized. Congratulations, you have completed onboarding and achieved the absolute minimum skill level required of a Fix-It pioneer. Fix-It looks forward to your future achievements, because a future with Fix-It is a future with you. Tier 1 and 2 milestones are now available in the hub, and biomass burners can now be built individually. Your first official objective is to initiate project assembly by building the space elevator. This objective will take a significant amount of resources, so Fix-It recommends getting to work.
So, after completing Hub Upgrade 6, we have officially completed the first tier of milestones, and now we're in Tier 1. And the options that we have for this tier are base building, logistics, and field research, and we need all of those. So at this point, we were just deciding which milestone to start with, depending on what they unlock. Ultimately, we decided to pick field research because the map is going to be really helpful for us, and so we wanted access to that pretty quickly. This next milestone was really the first one that had large quantities of items that we need. So we had some of them just from having been crafting for the stuff that we were making. So I put whatever I had in my inventory into the hub for those resources. But this was definitely the moment where we were like, okay, it's time to start automating. So before we fully set up our automation, I just crafted a bunch of stuff, honestly, because I was dragging my heels a little. But this was the moment where we were like, okay, it's time to automate.
Milestone reached. Supply the molecular analysis machine, referred to as the MAM, with local resources to research and develop new technologies. Potential technologies include exploration tools, weapons, and factory buildings. These are essential for maximizing your Pioneer efficiency in alignment with Fixit's core pillars: construct, automate, explore, and exploit. To advance Fixit's mission, all notable phenomena, resources, technology, or other influence should be investigated regardless of any perceived danger, as stated in the Pioneer contract.
We finished our first milestone in Tier 1, and you will see me get excited about launching that little thing. I guess I don't know what that is called. Pod thing. Anyways, you'll see me get excited to launch the pod every single time I do it. Like, I always watch it go up. I just think it's so fun and cute. Anyways, we finished our first milestone. Very exciting. And the first thing that I wanted to do was build the MAM, which lets you start researching the stuff that you run into on the planet, because we definitely encountered a couple of different, like, plants that we'd seen, and also alien creatures that we had to fight. So I was excited to start researching that stuff and getting, like, unlocking different things from the MAM. So that was my first to do.
The remains researched belong to an organism with 8 jointed legs, similar to the legs of arachnids but with non-standard distribution and function. Because its attacks focus on stabbing prey, your enthusiasm for saving the day has been noted. Your attitude has also been noted. The remains researched belong to an organism that tends to nest near objects emitting specific types of resonance. Spitters are called as such due to their ability to create and spit plasma across long distances. Spitter remains can now be made into alien protein, and additional research may reveal options for improving Pioneer safety during exploration. Research completed. Alien protein can now be turned into biomass or alien DNA capsules. In addition to being used for research, the invaluable alien lifeform data in these capsules can be traded for Fixit coupons at the Awesome Sync. We guarantee the best capsule to coupon exchange rate anywhere on this planet. The mycelial networks of these fungi possess unusually resilient hyphae, which show potential for making a strong but lightweight natural fabric. Additionally, it has similar medicinal and pest control applications to mycelia on Earth. This fruit, dubbed the beryl nut after its distinctive color, is compatible with the human digestive system and has been added to the object scanner. Further research is available. This mushroom, dubbed bacon agaric due to its uncanny resemblance to raw bacon, is compatible with the human digestive system and has been added to the object scanner. Further research is available.
After building the MAM, I instantly researched like everything that I could very quickly because I was just excited to start unlocking things. And then next, I picked the next milestone, which was base building, because we decided that we wanted to like very early on start setting up our base and factory area as like close to finished product, I guess, as possible, just to sort of reduce the number of times we would have to build things and then tear them down and then build them again, because I didn't want to do that a bunch of times. So we sort of kept everything super, super temporary and opted to try to unlock base building as quickly as we could so that we could redo things with all of the base building stuff, and get things like really organized. I really wanted my factory to be well thought out and organized as much as possible. And I knew that in order to do that, I had to start doing it really early. Otherwise, I would just get super annoyed to have to redo things. The one sort of snag in this plan that we ended up sort of making an exception for was limestone slash concrete. So we only had one portable miner on this little nearby limestone node. And so we were getting limestone for concrete really slowly and then having to manually turn it into concrete. And the base building milestone required 200 concrete, so it needed kind of a lot, and we handmade like most of that, but we realized that that just like wasn't gonna work long term. And then also we knew that once it came time to actually start building the base, we would use a lot of concrete in some of the building. Like the foundation pieces require concrete, and we knew we were gonna make a lot of them. So at this point, we were sort of like, okay, I guess it's time to automate limestone and concrete, even though we wanted to wait for the foundations for everything else, because this, like the limestone spot was far enough away from our base that we decided it would probably not be like created on the base foundation the same way that everything else would be. So we just started figuring out what we needed to do to automate it. Also, you will notice this is a really fun moment where I made a mistake because I forgot that you don't need to smelt limestone. So don't worry, I know I made a mistake and you'll see me fix it later. But for now, just enjoy me not knowing how this game works. Yeah. So we officially have concrete automated. I think this is my first thing in the game that we had fully automated, like from pulling it out of the ground to putting it into a container, which was really cool and felt quite nice to have that automated. And then we just had to wait for that to produce some concrete so that we could finish the next milestone. We started to think ahead a little bit and think about copper because we currently didn't have any automation on copper at all. Like we literally just had one little spot with a portable miner and that's it. But my partner did some exploring and the closest pure copper node was super far away. So we kind of decided to just leave our copper setup as not great for now, because it's just not worth it to set it up on like an impure or normal even node. So RIP copper. Also, this is not really relevant to our progress, but I didn't know you could slide in this game, and I got very excited to learn that you could.
Milestone reached. Several new structures are now available for improving factory organization. Foundations provide a building grid, which makes it easier to manage placement of any structure. In the event that you are experiencing amnesia for all events prior to planetfall, be reassured that memories of beloved humans and/or animals would have only been distractions from your important mission.
So we unlocked base building, which again, this was sort of like the big goal that I wanted to hit so that we could rebuild the base area and our factory in a really organized way. So before starting our big rebuild, I wanted to unlock the next milestone as well, which was logistics, because there are some really helpful things in that milestone that will help with our base building mission, essentially. So since the stuff that we needed for that milestone was pretty easy to craft and like a lot of it we already had, I just prepared all of those items while the pod was like in space for the base building thing. So that basically as soon as it got back, we could instantly launch it back up to get the next milestone logistics and then start the big rebuild.
Milestone reached. Conveyor belts can now merge, split, and lift to save space and enhance the productivity of your factory. Fixit encourages you to consider investing in verticality when it comes to factory logistics. If you feel stressed by this complexity, imagine yourself on the shore of a vast and calm ocean. Breathe in. Visualize all the people relying on you. The sea is made of billions of faces, each staring at you with hope and tears in their eyes. Breathe out. Feel refreshed and focused on your duties.
Now it is officially time to tear down literally everything that we built and start over. So now that we have base building, we can rebuild everything like on a grid and it can be super organized and on this like flat surface foundation. So it's a really good upgrade. It's just a little stressful to tear everything down. I was not feeling particularly excited. I didn't want to tear down the hub while the like pod thing was still up in space. So we started tearing down everything else that wasn't the hub and saved the hub for last when the little pod thing came back down. You can tell I was like really dragging my feet. I was not ready to tear everything down, but it was time. So I just destroyed every single thing that we had crafted or that we had built. Yeah, it felt super weird. Even looking at it now, it just feels really weird to have worked on all this and be like, okay, let's delete it all. But necessary on purpose, a good upgrade. The pod is still up in space, so I don't want to destroy the hub yet. But now I was ready to start like building the foundation basically for our whole base and factory area. So we are going to cover this whole area with the foundation tiles so that it's easier to build on and like get around in so that we have like a flat surface. So we wanted to start by finding sort of like the highest area in this spot to build at that height. My partner also showed me how to sort of snap the foundation to the world grid because we want to make sure that we're building our foundation grid in line with the overall world grid just to make things a little bit easier and like more uniform. And then I placed down the first foundation spot, which was really exciting. And then we sort of just talked about how to build the rest of it and where we needed foundation tiles. And eventually we started building more. I wanted to pick a nice spot for the hub because I know we don't really use it as a home, but I think technically this is our home. Like there are beds and a little computer and a bathroom in the hub. So I wanted it to be like in a nice spot. And I also wanted it to be sort of in a almost like a corner of the foundation that we build so that we can have factory buildings like sort of a little bit separate from it. So I put down the hub in this spot and then checked it out to make sure that it was nice, which I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And then, lots more to build still. The next important thing that we need to build now that we have the foundation set up is the iron, or I guess rebuild our iron setup. But before we started that, I wanted to add in our other like crafting bench and like equipment workshop and MAM buildings in this little corner next to the hub. So now it is officially time to do the first, like for me, this was my first big organizational challenge in this game, which like it wasn't that challenging, but this was my first like factory setup that I made and tried to actually be organized and everything. Anyways, so this is our first totally automated and like all official iron setup. So the goal was to have one miner, obviously, on the iron node, and then connect that in to smelters and constructors, smelters and constructors to totally like optimize the power that we had and the iron output that we had. And so basically the next few moments were my partner teaching me how like splitters and mergers work and the like output amounts of smelters and how many items different belts can carry. And I would love to tell you that all of that information stuck in my brain and now I could recite it to you, but that is not true. I don't really remember what I did. But ultimately we ended up with a pretty good setup, so here, enjoy me stumbling through it. At this point, we needed to start planning for power. So instead of relying on the two little power generators on the back of the hub, it was time to make like an actual power setup. So the plan was basically to start like a row of biomass burners, and we wanted to find a separate spot for them, not right next to all of the like iron setup, where we could just have a ton of burners and we could add additional burners as we needed and all that stuff. So yeah, now is the time to set up the burners. In order to have our iron production area still working while we were figuring out other parts of this build, like the biomass burners, I actually just connected the burner on the back of the hub to the iron area as like a temporary solution. Just because, I don't know, I found myself walking around the area trying to plan things out and figure out where was the best spot to build things. And I didn't want to like waste that time of me planning, having the iron production just sitting there not doing anything. So we hooked it up to power. After a lot of back and forth and figuring out exactly where I wanted the power to be set up, we officially connected it and we had power going. And right now there's only one burner, but we're going to need more pretty quickly. The next task that we wanted to start on was adding a second miner on our other iron node and trying to sort of duplicate the setup that we had on this node on the other node. And small spoiler, I will let you know that organizing all of these different items in this area was also a big challenge for me. I feel like a lot of this session was me understanding how big different items are and how much space they take up and where they work together. So you'll see me place stuff down and then basically immediately destroy it and place it again somewhere else. There was like a lot of back and forth on this. So I'm not going to talk through a lot of those decisions, but I think it's interesting to see like the at least this part of the game for me is a lot of trial and error and a lot of just figuring out like, okay, where can these things fit together? And a lot of it was, okay, these things do not fit together like this. And I think like reflecting back, because I've played this game a bit since this session in particular, and I think I started to get way better at understanding how different items can fit together and where they can fit on our like foundation grid. But this part was so confusing and challenging to me, and it took me a really long time. So enjoy all of that. Also, at this point, I realized I hadn't checked in on milestones in a little bit, and I hadn't even really looked at what we got in tier two. But we got a lot of cool stuff. So, we talked a little bit about what might be good to focus on unlocking next. Some of the stuff like obstacle clearing was something that we were excited about because of the chainsaw, so that we could start getting wood. Also, the awesome shop, which isn't like strictly super necessary early on, but there's some cool stuff there that I was excited to get. Also, like improved conveyor belts. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we needed, and improved conveyor belts ended up being the thing that we were like most needing at that point. So we didn't really make progress on this milestone quickly, but I just like having it in the corner so I know what's up next. And ultimately, at this point, I was pretty happy with the factory, how we had it. There is, of course, lots more to do, but we have power set up pretty reasonably. We have 2 iron nodes, both with miners on them, that are working hopefully pretty well. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it here for the day. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time for more Satisfactory.